yeah, I just need to keep myself in a good place. That's what I need to.
Yeah.
But
All right.
I
Well, let's
go.
talk about that then.
Well, I need to be ready. You know, I need to be the best version of myself, and
Hmm.
in every aspect. You know, whether it's
Well, before we go too far down that particular rabbit hole, um, you'll never be the best version of yourself in any particular aspect. There's always a way in which you can improve things.
yeah,
And
yeah.
really, the
Well,
whole point
okay,
of Limitless
improve.
Mind is that it gives you the tools to continue improving. So last week we were doing the time frame stuff, which I think is a really, really powerful tool for changing your mindset in radical and extraordinarily rapid ways. How have you been getting on with it?
Good.
Mm,
Yeah, I've been doing it, and but then I came across. I sent you that text message with all that stuff that was
yeah.
giving me. So it was almost like I was stuck, and
Mm,
then to distract myself, it's almost like I go out driving. So I go out and drive the taxi, thinking that at least I'm bringing something in. So, but I'm trying to juggle that, and I'm worrying about money, and I, I need to calm down. I really do. I need to calm down.
Well,
Um,
it's about identifying what the worry is, right? If the worry is something that you can conceptualize as a belief, like, this is not one of the ones that you sent through, so I'm using it as an example, but some people would have a belief of, I don't matter, like I'm a nobody or whatever it is. It's like, well, that's a really, really core thing. That's a really deep thing.
oh,
But in
absolutely.
order to verbalize something like that, it has pain attached to it. So people
Mhm.
don't want to do it. But
No.
the process of time frame gives you a way to be able to change that. So it's something that as soon as you have this technique and as soon as you really start thinking like, oh my goodness, I can do anything I want with it, you
Mhm.
start actively searching for the most painful things inside
Yeah.
because you know that there's something you can do about them.
Mhm.
And it's, in my experience, an extremely reliable tool. Not to say it's 100%, but it's like of all the things that I've got, it's like the closest to 100%. So whatever you're digging for, if you can conceptualize it as a belief, particularly a belief at the level of your identity, I am something, then you can do really, really deep work with it. And it's better if you can have it framed in the positive. So
Mhm.
that's why I picked this example of I don't matter. And what the deeper level of that belief was is I am a nobody, right? That's what I am. I'm nobody, and that's why I don't matter. That's why no one cares about me. That's why no, I don't have a voice, and all the rest of it's because I am nobody, right? So if you track down something like that, then it's almost like a linchpin belief that's way up here, and then you've got all these other beliefs that are sort of hanging off it, and they
Yeah.
just sort of disappear when you get to this
Yeah.
linchpin
Yeah.
belief. So that's the real art of what you're doing here. But
Mhm.
it is an art as well. Well, it's not a science, but it is an art.
Yeah.
And it's a mathematics, if you like, of how your mind is constructed. But it's also something that you'll be surprised what you can do with it. If you're not sure whether or not the time frame technique is going to work with the way you've conceptualized something, it's like, well, find out, because then you'll learn something about time frame. I
Yeah.
don't have all of the answers by any stretch of the imagination, and I
Mhm.
don't need to teach you very much more than I have, because just through your own exploration of it, you'll learn what it does and you'll learn how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Well.
let's move on to the uh, the next stage. So now we're getting into it, and the deeper we get into it, new variants of the problem start to come up.
Yeah.
So this one that you've got to here is this is not a belief so much. This
Mhm.
is a part of the unconscious mind.
Yeah.
And we've probably talked about this a little bit, but I'm going to teach it right from the beginning,
Okay.
just as if we haven't, because we've done parts work, we've done therapy and things. But with our own internal dialogue, it tends to be the case that what we're trying to do with the voice that we use to sort of talk to ourselves is it's almost as if we're trying to write our own autobiography.
Right.
Yeah. And as we're going through life trying to do that, we're trying to write an autobiography that makes sense of our lives and makes us look good as well, that explains
Yeah.
why we've made the decisions that we've made, even if they are a bit objectively flaky. Um, as we're going through life, we get these voices that come in and they say, things we don't agree with, perhaps. They're sort of, we might label them as intrusive or disturbing thoughts, and they seem to come out of nowhere.
Right.
And the question is, well, where do they come from? Because we're not a random species. We're a very, very highly structured species. We've been extremely successful, and the reason we've been so successful is because of our psychological capacity far more than our physical capacity. I mean, having opposable thumbs wouldn't make any difference to a tiger. They just don't have the mental flexibility that we have. So these voices that come in, they don't come from nowhere. They're not just fragmented, disembodied voices that are just designed to fuck you up. Right? They have a more important purpose than that. And perhaps one of the things that they do is they give you useful information about what's going on under the surface that you otherwise aren't paying attention to. Because most people, when they hear a voice like that, they kind of like, oh, they get angry and they shout at it, or they try and ignore it, or they argue with it, or they use logic and reason. And none of that really seems to make too much difference.
No.
So something else needs to happen in order for you to be able to work with a voice like that, that's saying something that you don't want to be the case.
I'll tell you what happened. I was doing the work on the relationships, and I was doing it all, and then I just said, and then I couldn't concentrate anymore, and then all that came out.
Right.
It was like, stop trying to do this. Just stop. You're wasting your time. Okay.
All right. So what was the feeling that came up at that point?
Just powerless.
Okay.
Powerless. I felt so powerless when that happened.
All right.
And like resigned, damaged, worthless. Yeah.
So one thing that you can do is, some of those things sound like beliefs. I'm damaged, I'm worthless. They may be beliefs. The feeling itself, if you recognize the feeling, and if you can put the label on it and say that the label is powerless, you may be able to do time frame on the very first time that you ever felt powerless.
I did.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. What happened?
I felt better. Yeah. I felt better.
Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to go inside and make contact with the part that gave you all of that information. Let's start by asking it, what is its purpose? What does it do for you?
It's protecting me.
And how is it doing that? What does it do for you specifically?
Well, it hides me. It hides me because if people betray me. People.
All right. Okay. So just thank the part for sharing that with you.
You'll get hurt.
All right.
You'll get hurt if you connect with people.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this a little bit staccato. So just open your eyes and thank the part for sharing that with you. So have you ever done time frame on the very first time that you were ever betrayed?
No.
Right. So the reason that you might have a part that is trying to protect you is because maybe you don't have a good strategy for making sure that people don't betray you. Right? It's happened in the past. You didn't make sense of it. You didn't figure out what to do in similar situations in the future. You went into a traumatized frame of mind. You felt maybe powerless or worthless or whatever it was. And you never figured out how to make sure that you don't end up in situations where people are going to betray you. So it's happened a few more times, and then at some point this part steps in and goes like, well, this obviously is no good, so it needs to stop. Does that it? Make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to do time frame on that very first moment that you were ever betrayed, just so that it helps me out to know a little bit what's going on. When you're getting the learnings, if you could say them out loud. I mean, obviously you don't need to say them out loud now that you know the technique. You've used it quite a lot. But but just so that I can get an understanding of a little bit what's changing for you, just say the learnings out loud, okay? And I may just because it's useful and just because we're on the call, I may guide you a little bit in terms of if you're going down some blind alleys with the learnings, help you to sort of keep them on track so that you can go through the process more quickly. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So just go to the root cause now. That first moment, the one that when it's disconnected causes betrayal to disappear, or the feeling of betrayal to disappear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So just do that now. I don't know if you find this easy with your eyes closed or your eyes open. And just do the whole process from position that's appropriate for it. And let me know what the learnings are as they come up.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. It's my wife. She's cheated on me with my friend. Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't really my friend. He was. I should have known. He wasn't wanting to be my friend. He just wanted my wife. And all about sex. It's not about sex. It's not about sex. It's about having a deep connection with someone. And the sex is something that comes after. It enhances it or build the relationship properly.
Is there anything else you need to learn from this?
Yeah, just don't be in a rush. Take your time.
All right. So just float down inside the event. And we could search around, check and see if any of that feeling of betrayal is there, or you may have completely disappeared.
No, it's
Is it gone?
Yeah.
Great. All right. So just complete the process.
Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Jesus. Fuck. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Jesus. Fuck. Oh, fuck me. Sorry.
All right.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It was just rapid.
Mm.
And all the way back and all the way forward.
Yeah. So it's maybe a slightly different process in this situation because your conscious experience of this is one thing, and we'll look at that in a moment. But the most important thing here is what the part's evaluation of what's just happened, right? So as the test and future pace for this, what I want you to do is just go inside and check with the part Was it paying attention to what happened?
Hmm.
What does it think?
It's healed. It feels healed. It feels healed.
Well, okay, that's cool. The way that it feels is really important. Equally important is the conversation, right? So the part told you all sorts of things. What I want you to do now is, it sounds like you've got a list of them. Yeah, what I want you to do now is I want you to go through systematically every single thing that came out on the list and ask the part how it feels about that now.
Okay. I was laughing.
Mm.
It's almost telling me that I've learned my lesson. I've learned the lesson that I was supposed to learn.
Mm.
Yeah, it's saying it's actually saying at last.
Mm.
I've been waiting on this. That's what it's saying to me. It's saying, I thank God.
Mm-hmm. All right. So here's why it's been waiting so long. Because you weren't talking to it, right? It gave you all of this information. It says, well, no matter what happens, I'm just going to wreck it all for you. And you didn't say why. Right? It seems fairly obvious when you put it like that. But you just sort of clammed up probably at that point. It's like, go away, horrible thing. I don't want to think about you.
Yeah.
It's kind of like almost what's happening in our political system at the moment. Everyone's just refusing to talk to everybody else, and they're just getting very angry and they're very defensive. And you, as a conscious mind, if you do that, then you can make these problems go on forever. All right, cool. Well, what we'll do is we'll end it here. I'll send over those files over the next few days. Probably, tomorrow morning I've got a little bit of time, so I'll try and get them done tomorrow morning and send a load of them over just for you to start listening to them and to start kind of expanding your understanding of how parts work, because this is really, what we've done today is a very, very cool technique to be able to get in and go like, well, there's a problem in the part. Let's track it down, let's address it, and let's transform it. But beyond having problems in parts, there's opportunities in parts, right? You now have this part, Claudia, who is no longer going to get in the way of your relationships. But just check by asking Claudia, would you be able to help you with your relationships now?
Oh, absolutely.